Hi, my name is Susan Miller, and I have had a stroke, and it has affected my language and my speech. I was on a trip getting ready to go to the Bahama trip, and but I had a lot of activities to go to. I did a dinner for 50 people. I had a Hanukkah party at my house. I had I'm trying to think of what it was, but I was so busy, and I didn't even pack for my trip. I was going to take a few hours sleep, and then I was going to get up and pack. And I got up in the middle of the night, and I went to the bathroom, and I fell down on the floor, and I had a stroke. And I couldn't get off the floor. I had to call my husband and get him. And he was, I guess I was, couldn't get up. And he couldn't, I was so stiff, and he couldn't help me up. So I scooted from the bathroom to the couch. And then the worst part of it, I could not speak. And my husband was horrified, because he was like, "What is she doing? She's not saying anything," you know. And then we went to the hospital, and I've realized that I had a stroke. But I was so concerned that all these people came to my hospital room. My nephews, my son, my husband, my sister flew from New Jersey, my nephew flew from New Jersey, and I was so trying to get communicating with all these people that's what I concentrated on. I did send a speech a person to help me, and I was so constant. I couldn't do it, and I couldn't say it, but I was trying so hard to improve that.
To applaud the wonderful effort that we've received both from Marshall and from St. Mary's in developing Susan's speech and overall rehabilitation in aphasia and apraxia. It's just been an amazing, from where she started in the latter part of December of 2019 to where she is now is miraculous.
And I wanted to change. It was the most difficult, and I needed to make more changes than I could. I attended a aphasia group, and it is an interesting group. I think that maybe I was a little advanced in some of my experience, but I certainly enjoyed the people that were in the group and their projects. There was a woman in our group who really suffered, and by the end of the year, she was so much better, and I enjoyed watching her do her to be success, to experience success. I think that the activities were good. Some of the activity, for example, they would show us, let's say, movies. And if they showed new movies, I didn't know what they were talking about. But if they showed some old of those old movies, I could do it. There were times, and I haven't said this because I haven't heard of it recently, but I cried a lot. It was so difficult. I couldn't get it, and I would cry and cry and cry, and then my husband would try to help him, and that would cry me some more. It was terrible, but I just kept doing it, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but you make a change and you own it, and that's important to me. I have learned lots of, I actually have done activities, but what I have learned from the activities is what makes me learn more and more. For example, like my arm. Yes, I talk about my language, but my arm couldn't cut I could not cut an onion. I started to cut all over my kitchen. There was rice, there was onion all over the place. But I just kept trying and trying and trying. And then, so I learned that. And then I decided to do a salad. And I cut things, and then, so that helped me learn how to do what I needed to cut. But I learned how to say the onion. And I said how to combine making the onion, and how to make the salad dressing. And many people came to my classes and learned how it. So I learned my language, my physical activity. I learned how to say the words. Everything helped me learn different things.
Any advice that I would give to a caretaker who was caring for an aphasia patient, it would be to let them do as much as they could possibly do on their own. I find myself trying to help Susan, assist her, correct her in pronouns and those sorts of things. And every time I do, I feel very guilty when I do that. I want my wife to be perfect amongst, in a social interaction or whatever, and that's not always the best thing to do. So if there was any advice that I would give to a prospective caretaker, it would be that let your spouse or let your significant other do as much as they can possibly do on their own.
I always tell people that I meet them, whether it's on the telephone, whether it's a meeting for a person for the first time, professor, anybody, I say, I have had a stroke, and I try to say as clearly as I can, but if I am not making it clear, please let me know so I can try again, or ask me a question, or whatever it is that I need, because it needs to, people need to know that up front. You're giving people the freedom to respond, to say, I didn't understand that, or, because sometimes people go, oh yes, I understand, and they don't. You have to make sure that you have to try to say what you're saying, You're try to get make the information clear and be patient. I have to be patient, and the person I'm talking to also has to be patient.
One of the things that I applaud Susan for is her perseverance. She has been tenacious as far as what she does, as far as her lessons, as far as her exercises, as far as her diligence, and her pursuit of trying to improve her situation. I really am extremely proud of her. We've been married for 45 years, and I don't think I ever realized how tenacious she was, how conscientious she was, how diligent she was. We have been brought much closer together than we ever have been. I used to value my self-worth was based on, I'm in the car business, and my self-worth was based on how many vehicles I sold in a month or whatever, or how many my employees sold. And now it has it has much more to do with how far Susan's progressing. So my self-worth has changed based on that, and I'm really proud of what Susan's done.
And just remember, don't give up. And it's not going to happen easily. There are things when you won't be able to say it, or you won't remember the word. But just keep trying. And maybe my husband wasn't a good person to help me because he was always trying. But I could help somebody because I could learn it and I could help somebody else learn it. And you can yell at people and you can cry and you can do whatever you have to do, but just keep trying. I don't know that I'm going to get my language and speech correct, but it's better than it was. And maybe someday I will be able to get it. Even my grandson, he tries to tell me, say it again, say it again. And I love when she tries to help me. So I would definitely help somebody anytime.